Watch the entire video, my lovely viewers, from start to finish, to get the whole thing. Without wasting much of your time, let's get right into it.
This is DJ Mutati exclusive.
Hi lovely viewers, it's me again, your one and only Mutati Mpundu. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time on my channel, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel by hitting the subscribe button down below. Turn the bell icon to join the notification squad. Don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment. Tell me what you think about this video in the comment section below. I'll be super glad to hear from you lovely viewers.
It's unfortunate that we are still on this issue of Edgalongu. I really wish by now we would have moved on and started looking at other issues. You know, there are other issues that we need to look at in the country. Unfortunately, we are still on this one, and it is not even over. We are still going on. So, like many of you know, at this point in time, the issue of Edgalongu is in the South African court. It is in the South African court. The Zambian government has intervened. You know, they have intervened so that the body of Edgalongu can be brought back home. Now, of course, the issue is that, you know, one thing before I get into that, you know, some of you, you know, the issue with me is that when I am talking about a particular issue, people don't respond to my issues. Instead, people resort to personal attacks, innuendos, and you know, malice. You know, they just bring up all sorts of things. You know, instead of responding to the issue, instead of concentrating to say, what is it that Diali is talking about? People don't respond, you know, to my issues. They usually, most of them, instead of responding to my issue, they start attacking me personally. Yeah? So in this particular incident, people now, instead of looking at what I'm talking about, they are busy saying, you want to come back. You want to come back. You want to use this, you know, as a negotiating issue for you to come back, as a way to impress the UPND and President Hakainde Hichilema for you to come back home. Now, I've repeatedly said this. I am a Zambian, and I am not out here because I want to be out here. No. It is not my intention to be out of Zambia at this point in time. It is not my intention. I was forced to leave Zambia for my safety. I was forced to leave Zambia because of the persecution that I was going through. And the situation still remains. Zambia for me up at the moment is not safe for me at the moment. It's not safe at the moment. But am I desperate to come back, to use these kind of things for me to come back? No, I'm not. I'm not. I am not. And I've repeatedly said that I want to come back home, but I only want to come back home when it is safe for me. I only want to come back home when I am sure that I am safe. Otherwise, at the moment, I'm not safe. I'm not safe. So I'm not that stupid to think that, you know, I can easily manipulate the government using the death of Edgalongu. No. No. It's not about that. It's not about that. This is me. I look at an issue and I take a position based on how my conscience, you know, guides me. Based on how my conscience guides me, I take positions based on what my conscience tells me. On this particular issue, I mean, I have lost friends. I've lost friends. Remember, the majority of my friends are PF. The majority of my friends are those who surrounded Edgalongu. So I've lost friends in this. And I don't think I would have loved to lose friends in this matter. But I am standing on what I believe is right. I'm standing on what I believe is right. So my position sometimes, yes, they put me in a very awkward position. You know, UPND in Shirikoku, I'm not UPND. And I can never guarantee UPND to say I will always agree with UPND. I can never. No, they can't trust you. They can't trust you. No, they don't have to trust me. They don't have to trust me. Because unless they want to, they agree that, they will respect my position. Then, yeah. But as long as they don't want to accept that I am a person that looks at things from a conscious point of view, they can't trust me. They can't trust me. And same now, this side, but PF, Nabona, all my friends now, they have run away from me. They are not even talking to me. Anyway, some of them, they stopped talking to me a long time. But with this, it has even become worse. Even some of the people, including some of the people, in the region, or some countries that, remember when I left Zambia, I had a few countries that offered me to go and stay in their countries. And most of these people, these countries that said, no, you can come and stay here, it is because there was some kind of relationship with Edgalongu. And they were looking at me as an Edgalongu boy. So yes, I did receive a lot of help in the name of Edgalongu. This is a fact. I received a lot of help in the name of Edgalongu because I was seen as, a boy of Edgalongu. And in this instance, a number of them have pulled back. I'm giving you facts as they are. A number of them have pulled back. They are not talking to me. They are, they are pulled back. But you see, at the end of the day for me, at the end of the day, I always emphasize this. People can let you down, but God will never let you down. Whatever position that I stand on, I stand it from my conscious point of view. I stand it believing that the Holy Spirit is leading me, believing that God agrees with me. So, and when you do things like that, God will never let you down. God will never let you down. God will never let you down. So, to those of you, my friends, who were linked to Edgalongu, who were associating with me because I was supporting Edgalongu, and you are pulling back, and some of you are even you don't even want to help. I'll tell you that this position I've taken, it is out of my conviction, and you hating me for it, there's nothing that I can do. I cannot pretend. One thing with me is that I don't pretend. I will not pretend to you that I agree with you simply because I want you to be my friend, simply because I want you to give me help. No. Tefo mbomba. Ishibombe fyo ine tefo mbomba. If you are about yo pantufie tefo mbomba. I want to be honest. I want to be honest with myself. I want to be honest with you. If I agree with you, I agree with you. If I don't agree with you, I'll tell you I don't agree with you. And if you withhold whatever help, or you stop being a friend to me, at least I'll have my conscience clear. I'll have my conscience clear that I didn't lie to myself, and I didn't lie to myself, and I didn't lie to you. This is a conscious position. This is a conscious position. What is this conscious position? The conscious position is that there is no way Edgalongu can be buried in another country for political expediency. This, I said it from the start. I stated it from the start. Whatever is going on, it is not about respecting Edgalongu's wish in his death. No, it is not. This is about, this is about, this is political. This is political. There is nothing here about family, what. No. It is political, it is political, it is political. That's all. It is political. People want to embarrass Hakainde Hichilema. People want to embarrass Hakainde Hichilema and his government. And Makebi Zulu is at the center of this. Makebi Zulu is at the center of this. People have been saying, why are you attacking Makebi Zulu? Why are you attacking Makebi Zulu? Makebi Zulu is just a family spokesperson. No. Makebi Zulu is enjoying this. Makebi Zulu wants this to continue. He wants this to continue because it is giving him a status. It is giving him an importance. It is giving him that figure. You saw him today. You saw him today. He's enjoying standing before, so many journalists. He's enjoying that. And in court, the demeanor, if I can put it this way, the demeanor of the court is that these people can resolve this matter. In South Africa, the South African government, starting with the South African government does not want Edgalongu to be buried in South Africa. And this is very clear. They have spoken, the government of South Africa has spoken very clearly. They don't want Edgalongu to be buried in South Africa. Unfortunately, their hands are tied. Their hands are tied. How are their hands tied? First of all, they have to respect the believing family. They have to respect. When somebody is grieving, I mean, you don't want to look cruel to them. You don't want to look like you are roughing them up. You don't want to look like you don't care about their feelings. This is the natural thing. This is the natural thing, especially in Africa. When somebody is grieving, that is not a time for you. Even if you have seen that the person is wrong, it is very hard for you to tell this person to say you are wrong. So, the South African government has made it very clearly that they don't want Edgalongu to be buried in South Africa. They would like him to be buried in Zambia, according to, the traditions that we have, the traditions and the rules that we have. That's what they would want. But their hands are tied. They can't just go to the West and tell them, if they can't do that. They can't do that. But really, I'm telling you, the South African government would have done that. They were, hey, Mayo, Logenut Petwin. Sending out maybe Kawashiken. Bakokola. But they can't do that. It wouldn't look good. They are respecting them as a believing family. They are respecting them as children of the former president. They are respecting that. They are respecting that. Don't be cheated to think, because some of you are thinking that South Africa, is in support of the family. No. Bale chitafyo muchinshi. Bale chitafyo muchinshi. Muchinshi uli abapere wa mayowa Esther na shanja. Muchinshi. But otherwise, the South African government, they want Edgalongu to be buried in Zambia. They want Edgalongu to be buried in Zambia. So they are tied pamuchinshi. And then secondly, of course, the constitution. Their constitution says give the remains to the next of kin. So they can also not go against what is written in the constitution. They have to give the body to the next of kin. That is what their law says. Okay? But, and then now if you are court, because when it is a constitutional matter now, it has to go to court. It's only the court that can make a ruling. And that's why it has gone to court. That's why it has gone to court. It is not that the South African, be very clear, and I'm not speaking this from my own opinion. It is from the statements that have been coming from the South African government. They can't come out in a way like if no, they have to be diplomatic. Like that minister said, the desire of South African government is that he's buried in Zambia. And even today when they went to court, the demeanor of the court is also of the same view that is buried in Zambia. Is buried in Zambia. Many people, I think on this one, they agree with the Zambian government. Many people, they agree with the Zambian government. Many people do agree on this one. They do agree that what Hakainde Hichilema is doing is the right thing. And by the way, President Hakainde Hichilema, for heaven's sake, is not fighting to bring this body for him to come and do some juju so that he can remain in power, even after 2026. It is not about that. Because this family, they are making it, they have brought in some superstition. They have brought in superstition. I told you about superstition, and some of you refuse. They have brought in superstition. Hakainde Hichilema should not go near the body. No, the body should not pass this road. No, the body should not be kept whatever. No, the body should not remain. The body. That superstition is only in the Lungu family. That superstition is only in the Lungu family. It is not to the rest of us. It is not in Hakainde Hichilema's mind. It is not. Hakainde Hichilema, I don't think Hakainde Hichilema wants to do anything superstitious. No. And it is absurd that, people keep bringing up this issue. This issue of superstition, this issue of like Hakainde Hichilema has magically killed Edgalongu. I mean, it's nonsense. It's preposterous that you can be bringing up this issue owing to the history of this man who has died. Owing to how the man died. Owing to how the man died. You people who are talking about superstition, you know how Edgalongu died. You know what caused the death of Edgalongu. You know. You know. I know, and you know. You know exactly how Edgalongu died. You know exactly how Edgalongu died. You know what happened a few days before he went back to the hospital. You know. You know decisions which were made for him to go to hospital and undergo an operation. You know. And undergo an operation. You know. So things are very, very clear. How dare you bring in this issue of superstition to say, no, Hakainde Hichilema wants to do this. Hakainde Hichilema should not go near the body. Whatever. Come on. Come on. You need to be real. And I can't agree with you with this. I can't agree with you on this one. I can't. I'll be betraying my conscience. I don't believe in this nonsense myself. Me, I don't believe in this nonsense. I don't. Especially when somebody who has died, I mean, the medical records are so clear. There is no way I'm going to buy that nonsense. Oh, Hakainde Hichilema. Hakainde Hichilema is president, for goodness sake. Hakainde Hichilema is already president. Mukasumina riradi kwa Hakainde Hichilema reteka. But you still behave as if he's in opposition. As if in that state, he's already president. Accept it. Then the other issue that they are bringing up, it's what Makebi Zulu keep bringing up. Makebi Zulu keep talking. You see, the court. Why the court? If you have seen, the court has kind of staggered this case. The court has kind of staggered this case, and why they have staggered this case is to give an opportunity to the parties to resolve this. The court does not want to embarrass anyone. The court does not want to embarrass the Zambian government. The court does not want to embarrass the Lungu family. They don't want to do that. But what have they done? They have given them ample time. They have given ample time so that they can engage and hopefully resolve this matter. and not to make either party be embarrassed. The court does not want to embarrass the Zambian government. The court does not want to embarrass the Lungu family. So they have protracted the case, knowing that Edgalongu is dead and is in the freezer. Knowing that Edgalongu is in the freezer right now. Knowing that Edgalongu needs to be buried. But they have protracted it. And by the way, today, in case some of you have not realized it, today, the Zambian government has won. Today, the Zambian government has won. Of course, Hakainde Hichilema doesn't want to put it to say it's a win or lose. No. But the fact is that they would have buried today. And when Wakavesha filed in an ex-parte was heard today. It was heard today. An ex-parte, you go into court to say, please court, I want to stop something. But the court does not just stop you, does not just stop something. No, they first hear, do you have a case? Do you have a case that we can listen to? And the court, the Zambian government made a case this morning, and the court agrees that there is an issue of public interest here. There is an issue of public interest. And that is how they granted the Zambian government that ex-parte and suspended the burial. Otherwise, the burial would have gone on. Because some of you might not see this. Already, the Zambian government has gotten something out of this. Already. And already, if you like, it is already causing an embarrassment to the Lungu family. Because they wanted to bury. Now they are not burying, they haven't buried. A lot of people flew into South Africa. But now, I'm sure by now they are coming back to Zambia. Including my grace, Archbishop Dr. Ali Kibanda. He had to celebrate, he had to go on and celebrate Mass. But unfortunately, it didn't happen the way they did. So already that is not good. That is not good for the family. That is not good for the family. And fine, they have stopped it and then they have given them so much time. So much time. And that time is for them to resolve. So the court is praying that these people can resolve. That is what the court is praying. And that is what the South African government is praying. That is what many other stakeholders are praying for. But now look at the statements of Makebi Zulu. Look at the statements of Makebi Zulu. Because some of you think that I'm just singling out this guy. This guy is a problem here. Makebi Zulu is a problem. He is a big problem. Because whilst all these people are talking reconciliation, what does Makebi Zulu say immediately coming out? Makebi Zulu comes out, no, Edgalongu has refused to sleep. He wants his story to be told. Hey, he wants his story to be told. Hey, this is an opportunity. Makebi Zulu, how can you turn this into an opportunity for you to show yourself, for you to tell a story? How can you look at this as an opportunity? When Edgalongu is being frozen like a fish in a deep freezer, honestly. This is a former president who is being frozen like a fish. But you want to take an opportunity now. This is an opportunity. This is an opportunity. What nonsense is that? What nonsense is that? How can Makebi Zulu take this as an opportunity? An opportunity to do what? Not to tell the story. What story? No, President Edgalongu was refused to travel to South Africa. President Edgalongu did not have money. President Edgalongu used Uber. President Edgalongu used the economy. President Edgalongu was stopped by the airport. Surely. That is a story that Makebi Zulu wants to tell. That is a story that Makebi Zulu is saying it's an opportunity for us. That is a story that Makebi Zulu has. The South African government is saying, can you discuss? The court is saying, can the parties discuss? Makebi Zulu comes up to say, this is an opportunity for us. They have done well to bring us to court. Now we'll tell the story. Now we'll tell them how they treated Edgalongu. Now we'll tell them how Edgalongu flew by economy. We'll tell them how Edgalongu used the Uber. Surely, let's be reasonable. Let's be reasonable. Let's be reasonable. Is that the story really? That you want to subject 2 countries and so many people? Is that the story that you want to subject everybody to be listening to you? And at the end of the day, to decide to bury Edgalongu in another country because of this story that you are talking, Makebi Zulu. Because of these stories that you are talking, Makebi Zulu. When you will be telling that story in court, do you think the government will have no answers to whatever stories that you are talking about? Do you think the government would have no response? Makebi Zulu is saying, no, they denied him his benefits. Makebi Zulu, there is evidence. There is evidence of Edgalongu resigning from politics. When he lost power, he resigned from politics. And the evidence is there. And when he resigned from politics, the government of Hakainde Hichilema started paying Edgalongu. There is that evidence. And if that is a story that you want to tell in court, Kabesha will show that when this man resigned from politics, we started paying him. And they will show what benefits they gave him, and they paid him, and they were paying him. When Edgalongu came back into politics, the constitution says, if the former president is still in politics, he should not receive. He should not receive benefits. So the Zambian government were only effecting what is in the constitution. It is not that they didn't want Edgalongu. No. Edgalongu came back into politics. And that is why the government followed the constitution. They abided by the constitution. So Makebi Zulu, you are a lawyer. What is this story that you want to tell the nation, the international community? What is this story? No, they were refusing him to go out to seek medical attention and whatever. No, at the airport, blah, 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 blah. Makebi Zulu, there is evidence. But Patrick Tangwa did bring out this information that they wrote to the Zambian government, the Dr. Njovu, the physician, the doctor of Edgalongu, wrote to the Zambian government. Edgalongu wants to go to South Africa for medicals. There is evidence that the cabinet responded by saying, we are ready to provide help. We are ready to provide help. And there is evidence where there was a reply from Dr. Njovu to say, no, we don't want your help. We don't want your help. We were just informing you. We were just informing you. So there is that evidence. So Makebi Zulu, you can fool the international media. You can fool the people that don't want to think. But when you are talking in court, these things will be challenged. And they will be challenged with evidence. With evidence. But yourself, Makebi Zulu, most of the things that you are talking about, they are just emotive. They're just emotive. They are just sentiments. They don't have the basis of evidence. There is no evidence that you can confidently present before the courts. Because when you say no, they neglected him. the government will show, like I've said, will show that when this man was out of politics, we were paying him. We were even allowing him. Remember, it is not that Edgalongu was stopped from traveling the moment he left the State House. Like one of the, somebody, I saw an article by Simon, not Simon, this Simon Kaloya young man. He wrote to say when Edgalongu came out, you know, Akainde Ichirema treated him like a prisoner, like he was on house arrest. No, it is not true. It is not true. Evidence is there that when Edgalongu left, he actually traveled out of the country. He traveled to South Africa itself. There were no issues. He traveled to Korea. There were no issues. The only issues came in when Edgalongu started meddling in politics. That is when problems started. The problem did not start when Edgalongu left office. The problem started when Edgalongu was meddling in the politics. That is when the problem started. Because the government started treating him as a political opponent. And the evidence is there. Evidence is there. So Makebi Zulu, when you are saying, no, they stopped him, there is evidence that before Edgalongu traveled out, and even in this instance, when you are saying that no, when they were going to South Africa, the government stopped him. Now, like you rightly said, some people are saying, no, Edgalongu traveled out of Zambia using a Zimbabwean passport. No, 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 I want to dispel that. Edgalongu did not travel out of Zambia using a Zimbabwean passport. He used a Zambian passport, and I've spoken to people. Edgalongu used a Zambian passport, used our airport, and he didn't use our airport in a gangster or crooked way. No, no. There is nothing that was done that was illegal in Edgalongu going out. He went out ordinarily like anybody else. And he was recognized as Edgalongu. He was recognized. If government wanted to stop Edgalongu from traveling, they would have stopped it. They would have stopped it. But they didn't stop it. Don't be cheated. Don't be naive to say, don't listen to Makebi Zulu's stories. If Makebi Zulu wants to appear like, you know, they did something magical, they were so clever. No. Edgalongu went into the airport, they saw him. He checked in at his flying out. And after checking in, he waited for more than 30 minutes before they could board the plane. When they boarded the plane was there as they were boarding and whatever. They took another 45 minutes. Edgalongu was in the airport grounds for over 1 hour. Over 1 hour. And whilst he was there at the airport, it is not that he was hiding. He was not hiding anywhere. Everybody saw him. People saw him. He went to the immigration officer. To the immigration office. They stamped his passport. Immigration. They stamped his passport. And he passed through exiting Zambia. And went and started waiting for the plane to come and to board. Now, some of you have been talking about, no, the airport, whatever manager has been, has been fired. Has been fired. Look, that man is not being fired because he allowed Edgalongu to fly out. No. No, listen to me very carefully. That man, the man that you are talking about, that he has been fired because he allowed Edgalongu to go. No, it is not about him allowing Edgalongu to go. It is about violating the airport protocols. Airport protocols. And this is the difference. So it would have even been another person. It would have been somebody else. But in this instance, it is Edgalongu. And why? Because what it is that per airport, there are protocols that you have to be for that you follow. Per airport, I mean, in our country, I don't know who is allowed to pass without searching. I think it is the president, maybe the vice president. There are very few people that are allowed to pass without being searched. There are very few people. And unfortunately, former presidents are not on that list. Former presidents, yes, they are diplomats, just like ministers are diplomats, just like the speaker is a diplomat, just like the chief justice is a diplomat, but the speaker is searched. The chief justice is searched. Diplomats as they are, holding diplomatic passports. Ministers are searched. What is the breach? The breach here in terms of Edgalongu is that this person, they did not search for Edgalongu. That is the issue. The issue is not that why did you allow Edgalongu to go? No. The issue is that they did not search for Edgalongu. They did not pass through. You know, there are those security features. Those security features where you pass, which checks you if you have a gun or whatever. But Edgalongu did not pass through that. And maybe that's what Makebi Zulu is trying to say. They used a clever way. But the point is that it is not that the airport authority did not know that Edgalongu is in the building. They knew that he's in the building. But this gentleman, I'm sure they were trying to pay respect to Edgalongu. I'm sure it was about paying respect to Edgalongu. And in trying to pay respect, they omitted certain airport procedures, certain airport clearance procedures. There are procedures that you need to follow. But I think this person was trying to respect Edgalongu, and they omitted certain protocols. This is what has caused this man to be in problems for his job. It is not because he allowed Edgalongu. Because if you are saying that it is because he allowed Edgalongu, the question that I ask you is, what about the immigration officer who stamped the passport? Because if it was about not allowing Edgalongu to go, the immigration officer that stamped his passport would have been in problems. Why this one? Why not the immigration officer who received the passport and stamped it and gave it to Edgalongu to go out? Why is he not in problems? Why? Why this person? The point is that it is not that he allowed Edgalongu to go. No. The point is that they overlooked certain procedures. And those procedures, that's what they are saying. Why did you allow this? Because yes, he's a former president, but he's subject to be searched. He's subject to airport protocols. Just like the speaker is subject to airport protocols. Just like the chief justice. And I'm mentioning this because, I mean, these are the heads of government arms. That's why I'm mentioning the chief justice. I'm mentioning the speaker. These are the heads of the, I mean, they are on top there. They are on top there. These are up there. But the chief justice is searched. The chief justice passes through airport protocols. He is not excluded. No. The speaker is not excluded. And from there, I mean, you can talk about the former president. Even the former president, unfortunately, is also not excluded. It's only the incumbent. It's only the incumbent, Hakainde Hichilema, and maybe the vice president. I don't know other people. So that is the clarification on that person. Because a number of you have been saying, but why was this? Why is he what? No. If government didn't want Edgalongu to go, there is no way you can tell me that our Zambian government is so useless that a person like Edgalongu will stay in the airport buildings for 1 hour and they don't know. Then they are surprised. Because all of us, we knew, by the way. It was on social media. The day that Edgalongu was going, that is the day that human rights rapporteur was coming in. So, I mean, it was on social media all over. It was on social media. So how can you tell me that the rest of us knew about this on social media and yet the government didn't know? So that today you can come up and say, we are telling the story that, he was not allowed to go out of the country. It's not true. It's not true. And the evidence is there. Like the letters which were written to cabinet. And cabinet responding. And then this one saying, no, it is just for your information. We don't want anything from you. We don't want anything from you. Then they went to South Africa. When they went to South Africa, it is a fact. I am speaking on very solid grounds here. The hospital where they went, they didn't want the people, Edgalongu and the people themselves that were there, they didn't want the Zambian government or people to know where he was going to the hospital. They didn't want to know. They didn't want to disclose this information. They didn't, the Edgalongu and his people, including Makebi Zulu Wine, they didn't want to know where they were staying, which hospital they were going to. They didn't want. It was all shrouded in secrecy. It was all shrouded in secrecy. And even the names that were used at the hospital, it is not the Edgalongu. They used some name, whatever names that they used. But they used a pseudonym. Let's call it that way. They used a pseudonym because they didn't want the information to go out owing to what they were looking at. What they were looking at was very serious and they didn't want it to come out. They didn't want to come out. Hence the secrecy. So, if you shroud something in secrecy, how can you turn around and accuse others to say, you knew he was sick and yet you never gave him any help? Does that make sense? Do you want me to agree with you when I know for a fact that you were hiding? You didn't want this thing to come out? So should I agree with you now because of loyalty, because you came to my house and fought with the police officers? Then I should agree with you to say, no. Yeah, this government is very bad. Yes, because I'm in exile. Yeah. No, this is not about me. This is not about me. It's about Edgalongu. And we need to look at the facts as they are. It was shrouded in secrecy. You didn't want people to know Edgalongu is attending a medical treatment. You didn't want. You didn't want. So how can you turn around now and accuse the government to say, you didn't look after Edgalongu? How? It doesn't make sense. And these things you are talking about telling the story, this is the story that will be told in court. This is the story that will be told in court. You are not being fair. You are not being fair. No, so now he's dead. Now we cannot take him back because he came as a private citizen. Now whatever, he has to go as a private citizen. Makebi Zulu, Edgalongu chose to go as a private citizen. When Patrick Kangwa said, we are ready to help, they responded, we are not interested in your help. We are not interested in your help. He refused. And you were part of the group. You are part of the group. You refused. How can you turn around today and accuse the government to say, no, he came as a private citizen, so whatever. No. And okay, fine. The government has allowed you to say, okay, bring the body. Bring the body by yourselves. Government has agreed. Government has not contested that. Bring the body as you took him. That's okay. But when you come into Zambia, allow us to take over. And you have agreed. You agreed, yeah, we can do that. And then later on, now you're saying, no, the government changed the plan. What did they change? No, they said that when the body comes, they should take it for prayer privately and whatever. Where did you get that? Where is it written? Where is it written? Makebi Zulu, are you going to produce that that report where the body was supposed to be taken in a private room? I've seen, because this is the propaganda that you have been peddling. And you are accusing government. Government has put a propaganda machine. No, the propaganda is on you. You are the ones who are lying. You are the ones who are lying. And people like me, I'm just telling the truth as it is. Where are you going to produce a report which is saying, or a schedule which is saying, at one point, this body will be somewhere? Where? You are lying, Makebi Zulu. You are lying. And some of these naive people are believing this. That no, they said they are going to put a body in a... No, there is nowhere. There is no such report where it is saying that, they are going to put a body somewhere secretly and whatever. No. No. And the government has even told you to say, look, we are not interested in the body. If you want, seal it in South Africa. The government of Zambia... What nonsense is this? Okay. The government of Zambia has said you can seal the body. You can even seal it, put it in foil paper if you want. Seal it and then bring the body. All we want is to give him a dignified burial here. We are not interested even in your body viewing. If you don't want body viewing, we agree. The government has said that. Government is not insisting to see the body. No, they are saying you can seal the body. Seal the coffin before it comes. And we will not move the coffin that you are going to bring him in. That is the coffin we are going to use even to bury him. They have said that. In case people don't know, government has told the Makebi Zulu and group to say, if you want, seal the body. Seal it in such a way that, it will not be opened until it is put in the grave. They have compromised like that. But Makebi Zulu is presenting history to say, no, they want to see the body. They want to see the body. They want to see the body. I have even seen some of the opposition leaders talking about seeing the body, seeing the body. Who has told you that Hakainde Hichilema wants to see the body? Who has told you that Hakainde Hichilema is interested in looking at the body? Hakainde Hichilema knows Edgalongu is dead. He has reliable information. He knows he's dead. He doesn't need to look at the body. No, it is not about him looking at the body. No, they said the road, they have closed the road. So if they bring them the body, then the body would have to pass. Superstition. But nonetheless, on the issue of the road, which they are talking about, the road, they said they will close the road so that they can work on it. Because the road was going to be busy, going back and forth, since the body will be going there and the little vehicle will be going there. So there are some places which need to be patched up. That's why they said they are closing the road so that they can work on the road so that the cars can easily pass. It is not that they said that they will close the road on the day that whatever is coming and the road cannot be used. No. The maintenance was for the purpose of the body. It was to facilitate the body passing through the same road. But as they are working on it, it had to be closed. But now, this is what Makebi is using to say, no, they diverted, they changed. They didn't change anything. They were living by what was agreed. Okay, no, Edgalongu said Hakainde Hichilema should not be able to come near the body, should not be able to say anything. No, we don't want Hakainde Hichilema to say anything on the state funeral. And other, fundis have come up to say, no, a state funeral is not only by the president, somebody else can be there and whatever. Now, here is the thing. Hakainde Hichilema, much as we may not like him, much as we may disagree with him, he is the head of state. He is the head of state. Even Hakainde Hichilema, even if he doesn't want, Even if he personally, because he doesn't like Edgalongu. He's forced. He has to. He has to be part of this function. He has to be part of this function. Who do you want to replace the head of state with? If the head of state is the one that is supposed to stand there, who do you want to replace the head of state with? And this is why I've been saying this. This is what Manalumango meant when he spoke about, you know, treason. It is like this. I'm taking it from this young lady called Ethel Chisunat, boss lady. I was talking to her on phone, and she said, you know, it is like overthrowing Hakainde Hichilema using a funeral. That's what she said. I was talking to this Ethel girl, you know, from America. She said, it is like a coup using a funeral. And I agree. I agree. You want to suspend the powers of the president to administer this function using a funeral. Makebi Zulu feels so powerful that he can put on hold the powers of the president. He can freeze the powers of the president. These people want to freeze the powers of the president, want to freeze Hakainde Hichilema for that moment because of a funeral. Because of a funeral. Because you have got Edgalongu. Because you have got the body of Edgalongu, who is a former president, and you want to have it your way up to the extent of putting out an elected leader. You put him out the way you did when he was in opposition. You could do that. Pachiro Chakwana Nkane Chava Kaunda. You did that to Hakainde Hichilema. He was in opposition. He was in opposition. You put him in the sitting room. You confined him to watch the proceedings on TV because he was in opposition. Now he's president. You cannot do that again. You can't do that again. Makebi Zulu, you have got no powers to do that. Not even Edgalongu in his life. When Edgalongu is alive, even if Edgalongu is alive, he can't do that. So you Makebi Zulu, wayafuna kuisama kayo. Ayakuwomfya ba Edgalongu muchitumbi, ukwewa to know he should not preside over a state function. No. He is our elected leader. Whether we elected him or not, whether we like him or not, is our head of state. Is our head of state. And anyone asking him to excuse himself from performing that responsibility is not a friend of our country. Is not having good intentions. Such a person is not a good person for our country. No, no. You are trying to, using this way, this young lady's words, you are trying to stage a coup using a funeral, using a body, because you want to suspend, you want to send the president on a forced leave. What does that mean? Sending the president forced leave. For this moment, for this 1 hour, because the state function takes quite some time. It takes quite some time. It will take, I mean, I don't know if it's 2 hours. So for that 2 hours, Hakainde Hichilema won't be a president. Because it's a state function. Everything will stop. Everything will stop. Everything, all the attention will be on this state function. And where you want the president not to be there, when the president is supposed to be the one, you know, presiding over it, we'll sing the national anthem, and the president is not there. Come on, guys. Come on. Are those the wishes that you think the court in South Africa will accept? Are those the wishes that you think the South African court will tolerate? Will South Africa accept their president to be suspended? Can a court, even in South Africa there, can it agree that their president be suspended for the time of the function? Can they accept that? Can they accept that? No, because that is what Edgalongu wanted. But is that reasonable? Is that reasonable? Certainly not. Certainly not. No. At the end of the day, you know, we will bury him here. We will bury him here. Since the South African constitution said that you give to the family. Yes, that's what the South African law say. Give to the family. But Makebi Zulu, you have to remember that this man who has died is not a South African. Yes, he died on the South African soil. He died within the borders of South Africa, a sovereign state with its own constitution. But are you telling me that South Africa will ignore the fact that this man is a former president? Will South Africa ignore this stubborn fact that Edgalongu is a former president? Will the South African government, or the South African court in this case, will the South African court just ignore our constitution, which this man who is former head of state swore to uphold? Edgalongu swore to uphold the constitution. He swore twice. He swore, I swear that I shall defend and protect the constitution of our country. Will South Africa ignore that? To say, no. I mean, that is in Zambia. It's okay. If you. Here we are following our laws. We are following our laws. Will South Africa ignore that? Will South African court ignore that? That this man is a former head of state. This man swore to uphold a constitution of his country. Will South Africa ignore that? And just say, no. Come on. Give to the family and do whatever you want. Will South African court ignore that? Will they ignore that? He swore to uphold the constitution. Will South Africa ignore this constitution that this man swore to uphold? Are they going to ignore? Are they not going to hear Kavesha to say, no, but where we come from, this is how we're supposed to treat this matter? Because that's what Kavesha will be saying. Kavesha will be saying, according to our country, this is our former head of state, and according to our country, our constitution says that the former head of state, the incumbent, and the former head of state is supposed to be buried by the state. This is in our constitution. That the former head of state is supposed to be buried by the state. The same way that you are demanding for his benefits. No, the benefits. This is part of the entitlement. This is part of that. And the government wants to uphold this. And they have got a history of upholding it. Because they were paying. So the Zambian government is actually on the good grounds here. If they didn't pay, the moment he left, they didn't pay. You can accuse them that no, they didn't want to pay. But they were paying. They only stopped when Edgalongu came back into politics and announced it himself. Edgalongu announced it himself to say, I've come back, I'm a benefit to I don't care. He did it. He said it. And they followed the constitution. Even in this death, they are following the constitution. And they will tell the court to say, hey, we are following the constitution. And you, Makebi Zulu, what documents would you be quoting? What documents? What evidence would you be putting before the court? No, himself, Edgalongu said this. By the way, you are saying he said this. Where is the evidence? Where is the evidence? Edgalongu was a lawyer. Just like Mwanawasa was a lawyer. And Mwanawasa as a lawyer, he actually did a very good testament, will of testament. On video, all of us, we watched it. Who could refuse? Who could refuse? Makebi Zulu, do you have a video that is where Edgalongu is saying, no, I want this, I want this? Do you have that evidence? Are you going to give the South African government in your story, are you going to give them this evidence? Because how do we know? Maybe you are just lying. Maybe you are just lying. Maybe you are just using Edgalongu's death because Edgalongu cannot speak for himself. What evidence do you have? Can you give us the evidence, Makebi Zulu? Can you give us the evidence where Edgalongu said this? From the government side, they have the evidence. From the government side, they have the evidence in whatever they are doing. When he left power and he wrote a letter, they were paying him. They were paying him. When he came back into politics, they withdrew. He's dead. The constitution says he's supposed to be honored and treated with gun salute and whatever. This is what they are following. Are you telling me the South African court will ignore all that? Are you telling me they will ignore all that? Why is the court saying, can you people engage? Why are they saying that? Why are they saying that? Can't you read between the lines? Makebi Zulu, can't you read between the lines? Can't you read the body language of the court? Why did that minister fly into Zambia? Why did that minister fly into Zambia and he held a private meeting with Hakainde Hichilema? Why? Why do you think that minister came to Zambia and had a private meeting with the president? Why? Why? What do you think was discussed there? What do you think was discussed? Do you think that man came to tell Hakainde Hichilema in his face to say, hey, you know what? We are going to give them the body and they'll bury in South Africa. So, just forget it. Look at the language. Look at the body language when they came out of that private meeting. Look at what was said. Look at what was said. Listen to what was said. Look at what this minister said. That minister, of course, he has to speak diplomatically. It is the desire of the South African government that Edgalongu is buried in Zambia. But we are hoping that, these matters can be resolved. You see, that language. And listen to Hakainde Hichilema. Hakainde Hichilema did not mince his words. Hakainde Hichilema, even before this minister, he said he should be buried in Zambia. If Hakainde Hichilema had a discussion that expressed that South Africa is against Zambia, Hakainde Hichilema would have not had that confidence to speak in the manner that he did. But when you look at the demeanor, when you look at the way he spoke, you can clearly tell that these two governments, they are not in conflict. No. Over this, they are not. They are in agreement. They are in agreement. It is only you, Makebi Zulu, and a few of the family friends who are there. It is only you. But these, they have agreed. These, they are not seeing sense in what you are doing. Open your eyes, Makebi Zulu. Look at it. Look at that court. Look at it, the people. You are dealing, you are in South Africa. You are in South Africa and you are being pampered by the opposition. You are being pampered by the opposition. These are the people that are pampering you. These are the people that are encouraging you. But you have to know which government will tolerate an opposition. We sent a former head of state to go to Zambia to go and negotiate. But they didn't allow him to land. He went with his private jet. But when he arrived in Lusaka, they didn't allow him to land. Hakainde Hichilema is not in opposition. Hakainde Hichilema is in government. And that opposition that you are talking about, that former president you are talking about, is an opposition leader. He's an opposition leader. How can Hakainde Hichilema allow to sit with an opposition leader of another country? It doesn't work out like that. It doesn't work out like that. If you are talking about a former president, a statesman, it's a different case. But when you are talking about a former leader who is active in politics, how can Hakainde Hichilema come and sit with him? How? How can he? How do you expect the Zambian government to accept a foreign leader, a foreign opposition leader? He's a former head of state, yes. But he is an opposition leader at the same time, causing havoc in South Africa. How can he do that? How would have Cyril Ramaphosa looked at him? That's why they allowed the minister to come in and have an audience with the president. But this other person that you are talking about, Makebi Zulu, he's a former head of state. But like Edgalongu, he is also active in politics. A government cannot do that. So you cannot say the government does not want to negotiate because we sent a former head of state. He went there, they didn't allow him to land. Because he's an opposition leader. And they cannot talk to this guy in this instance. They can't. Government speaks to another government. That's what it is. Government speaks to another government. Even in South Africa, it's the same thing. You can't be having issues with Hakainde Hichilema. You have issues with Hakainde Hichilema. And then you send Fred Meme to go and negotiate for you. Does it make sense? Does it make sense? Does it make sense? You send an opposition leader to go and negotiate for you. It doesn't make sense. So, in all respect, really, if you look at this issue, it is really pointing, it does not look good on the part of the family. And I can say that they seem to be lacking wisdom. Because there are certain things that you see, even if you have got a strong position, but you assess the situation, you look at it, you humble yourself. Much as you may be right. But there isn't that wisdom. And Makebi Zulu is at the center of this. There is no wisdom in Makebi Zulu. He's not able to advise the family correctly. Because if there was wisdom, he would have advised the family correctly. And this is why I agree when government is saying, let's change negotiators. Because this has come up. That the people who are negotiating, can we have a different team? Because the court has asked them to say, can you resolve these things? Can you talk? So, as we are going into this other phase of negotiating, both parties are being urged to change negotiators. Badabali filwa. Na Makebi ali filwa. So, tend to change. Can we bring others? But Makebi Zulu doesn't want to move. But Patrick Kangwa and whatever, those who are the government side, they have agreed to say, okay, you can change us. You can put other people to negotiate. But on the part of Edgalongu, Makebi Zulu is not moving. Makebi Zulu doesn't want to change. And this is where I hold him personally responsible. Because if you mean well, even if you are a dictator, even if you are the negotiator, you are the person that have been appointed by the family. When you see that the negotiations are being stalled or are being hampered by your presence, if really you mean well, you would step aside. To allow others to come in. If really Makebi Zulu means well, if it is not personal for Makebi Zulu, this decision, this issue of changing negotiators, removing negotiators who are there, if really Makebi Zulu means well, he can easily step aside. But no, how can Makebi Zulu step aside? This is an opportunity for him, as he put it. It is an opportunity for him to be covered by international media. It is an opportunity for him to tell his narrative, to tell his lies. So how can Makebi Zulu recuse himself? Makebi Zulu can't recuse himself because he has got vested personal interest. Makebi Zulu has political interest. Makebi Zulu is a failure who failed and is being haunted by the ghost of failure. Makebi Zulu, they gave him a constituency. Malambo constituency, they gave him on a silver platter. On top of that, they gave him to be a minister in Eastern Province, one of the strongholds of the PF, one of the strongholds of the PF. And on top of that, where he comes from, where he comes from. But this is where Makebi Zulu lost an election. He lost an election. The election started, the ballot boxes opened at 6 o'clock. Makebi Zulu had lost elections by 10 hours. By 10 hours, Makebi Zulu had lost elections. Go and check. Go and check. They gave you a constituency. They even make you a minister. And Makebi Zulu, by the way, he was also a lawyer to most of these guys who are making money in PF. Most of these guys, I mean, you have seen all those guys who are accused of having embezzled millions of dollars. All of them. It is Makebi Zulu who has been representing them. Even when he was in government, all these big guys were going to Makebi Zulu. So we can safely say Makebi Zulu had utusaka twandala motu. He had all the money. So if you think of it, bakupela constituency without campaigning, bakupela minister, now upatana no tusaka twandalama, because all those who are getting money, who made money in PF, bale amukutula kuli Makebi Zulu. Makebi Zulu had money. And yet, ama elections yaisa. First term Muntwandi. First term. Ama elections yaisa. And it is a stronghold of PF. Walusa pa 10 hours. Within 4 hours, ama elections yatamba. Within 4 hours, Makebi Zulu lost the elections. And now, he wants to reinvent himself. He wants to absorb himself of his failure. This is a little man with a big ego. He can't stand on his own. Makebi Zulu can't stand on his own. He can't. Ngatuashika. I mean, which media will Makebi Zulu talk to? Who is going to follow Makebi Zulu? Who is going to follow Makebi Zulu? Even me, I am far better than Makebi Zulu. Some of you have been saying, hey, Makebi Zulu is better than whatever. I am far much better than Makebi Zulu. I am far much better than Makebi Zulu. My political life, nobody has given me money to prop up my political whatever. If I had been given the kind of chance that when Makebi Zulu were given, you think I would be at the same level? Eh? You think I would behave like when Makebi Zulu? Eh? That is why even even Edgalongu Valentina Bantina Varishiva Ichua Chinga to watch page warfare. I fight on my own. But Makebi Zulu was given all this and look, nothing. So now he's worried. His political career is going to be buried together with Edgalongu. So no, please, let us not bury. Let us not bury. Let us just deposit it in South Africa. Because in South Africa, they are not burying. In South Africa, they are simply depositing the body. So that at the right time, they can go and take it. That is the intention. I told you that it's politics. It's about politics. First of all, to embalance Ichilema. Secondly, to come and use the body, like bonds. They are depositing political bonds in that body. Because at the right time, they will go and withdraw those bonds and sell them to the Zambian people to say, you see, Hakainde Ichilema treated treated Edgalongu very badly, and he ended up being buried in South Africa. So now we want to bring back the body, blah, 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 blah. Nonsense. I can't be part of that. I can't be part of that. I can't be part of that. Nangu ninga ramasheni kuti shava. You know, I can't be part of that. I can't be. Nakana. That's what you want. Hakainde Ichilema has got issues. And I want to warn everybody that, yes, today I'm talking like this. Tomorrow, if there will be something that is against Hakainde Ichilema, I will speak against him. But on this one, no. Let us agree with the man. Let us respect the man. The man is the head of state. Let us appreciate his efforts to bring in this whatever. Some people are saying, no, but how can you take a widow to court? I mean, what choice do they have? They have to do this. And I commend Hakainde Hichilema on this one. Hakainde Hichilema has really been exceptionally well in this. He has exuded leadership. And I commend him for that. There is no any other way. I mean, Hakainde Hichilema has done so well. He has done so well. And we need just to commend Hakainde Hichilema on this one. Makebi Zulu and whatever the family that they are doing, no. It is not right. It is not right, my dear Zambians. It is not right. And you don't say, no, whatever they are going to court, Zambian government have got no choice. They have no choice. And the South African government must have hinted to them to say, look, we cannot force them ourselves. Maybe just go to court. Because the court will rule. When the court rules, you know, it is an independent body. And from the way the court has come out, the court is emphasizing, can you resolve this? Makebi Zulu doesn't want to resolve. Because for him, it is an opportunity. Without this, Makebi Zulu is nothing.
This is DJ Mutati exclusive.
Alright, that's all for you today, lovely viewers. If you did enjoy the video, please don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about the video you just watched in the comment section below. I'll be super glad to hear from you, lovely viewers. Once again, I go by the name of Mutati Mpundu. I love you, peace, I gotta go.